everybody. So go ahead and make sure that you are sitting in your chair and you are comfortable. Both feet are going to be on the floor if possible. And you're going to look down and you're going to look for that imaginary line, okay, that goes across the toes. And just make sure that one foot is not further in front of the other foot, but instead that the feet are nice and level against that imaginary line, all at the same place. And then you're going to notice, where is your default? So are you somebody who leans forward? Are you somebody who leans back? Okay, those of you who've taken the class, you know that I will refer back to what your default is a lot. So just observe that and then start to rock a little bit forward and back on those sits bones. And what you're looking for is neutral. So you're looking for the point where you're not leaning forward, nor are you leaning back, but instead you're right in neutral. And when you find that, you're going to stay right there. Okay. Press the heels down, let the toes lift, press the toes back down very gently. But you want to keep the heels pushing down into the floor to keep the quads engaged. That ends up taking a lot of pressure off of your back. And then let the shoulders roll back and down. Lift up through the front of the spine. Let the chin come down and back. And then simply let your eyes close. And so maintaining this posture as best as you can. And I will say that when you take the sighs in a moment, there is going to be this temptation to let the body kind of drop back into its default place. So really paying attention and being mindful to how the body feels, how it's situated. And then you'll go ahead and take your 3 cleansing breaths. So 3 times breathing in through the nose and then open the mouth. Give a nice deep sigh out through the mouth. Remembering that you're at home and you're not in a big class with a bunch of people, so you can sigh or moan or do whatever feels best for you in this moment. And then after you take those 3 sighs, you're going to allow the breath just to come in and out through the nose. So if you're familiar with that Ujjayi breath, you can begin that at this time. If you're not familiar with Ujjayi breath, the best way that I know to explain that is you have this very slight constriction in the back of the throat, and you can find that constriction by keeping your lips closed, but saying the word ha on the exhale. But again, keep the lips closed, and you'll start to feel how there is that slight constriction. It slows the breath down. And eventually you do that exhale after exhale to the point where you can also maintain it on the inhalation, if that is comfortable for you. And so, working on a little bit of mindfulness here, keeping your eyes closed. Just bring your attention down to your feet. And I don't want you to change anything as we go through the body here, but just observe what the toes feel like. Are they relaxed? Are they gripping? Notice the pressure on the heels. Pay attention to your legs, maybe noticing what position they are in space, observing if any part of the leg is contracted or relaxed. Bringing a little attention to your pelvis. All right, so noticing where is the weight sitting on the sits bones? Is it in the center? Is it in the front? In the back? Is there more weight on one side as compared to the other side? And then observing the spine, noticing if the spine is neutral or there's rounding in one part of the spine that perhaps there wasn't a few moments ago before those sides. And then finally, before we open our eyes here in a moment, just taking this time to think of something that you want to let go of. If there's a couple things that come into your mind, you don't have to pick one. You can think of all of them, but think of at least one thing. And remember, it can be a a myriad of things. It can be a physical discomfort, it can be an emotion, it can be a thought pattern, anything at all. And then when you're ready, you're going to let your eyes start to slowly flutter back open. Take your time doing that. There's no rush. Good. And we are going to start right out with cat cows. Okay, so seated cat cows. You want to start the motion in the tailbone. You want to end the motion at the head. And you want to move the spine kind of one vertebra at a time. Okay. So you exhale, let the tailbone come forward, round the low back, the middle back, the upper back, let the head drop. And then you reverse that. You inhale, lift the tailbone to the low back, the middle back, the upper back, lift the head. As always, your breath, your pace. My modification for this, if it doesn't feel good for you to lift your head at the top of that inhale, you can arch the back and then simply keep your gaze forward if that feels better on your neck. Sometimes, if we've had whiplash or reverse cervical curve or any neck injuries, for some people it doesn't feel good to look up, so you don't have to. Let's do one more full breath. So a cat and a cow. And then after you do that full breath, we're coming into those barrel rolls. So just remember with barrel rolls, think of your waist or your navel here making this circle, right? So the shoulders come along for the ride, the hips, like your weight's going to move a little side to side. That's fine, right? But let the motion initiate. You can think of either the waist or you can think of the navel, kind of all in the same place. Good. And then reverse it, of course, bring it around the other direction. All right, bring yourself back to center. I'm laughing because I have a squeaky chair. I changed chairs and I didn't think I got a squeaky chair, but I got a squeaky one. All righty, so arms are going to be down by your sides. If you ever took classes at Levine in person, you might be chuckling a little bit too. All right, you're going to reach your right arm down, keep your left shoulder back. So we're getting a little stretch on this side, but we're actually working on muscle strength. So you're going to bring yourself back up, and then you're going to go to the other side. You're going to reach that left arm down, keep that right shoulder back, and then you're going to bring yourself all the way back up. Right? So just going to move inside to side here. And you don't have to go far, just go to the point where your body says that's a good spot, and then you're going to stay there. Let's do one more each side. Lovely. All right, place your hands back on your thighs. You might bring your feet a little bit wider. And we're going to do circles, but now it's like the whole torso is making a circle, right? So I'm going to let my chest come forward and down, and then over the side, maybe back a little bit. And this is going to help get a little further down into your low back, place that we are often tight. Good. Let's do one more circle this direction. And then reverse it, other way. Beautiful. Bring yourself to neutral. Okay. Bring the feet hip distance apart again. So if you brought them out a little bit, just bring them back to neutral here. And we're going to come into a seated spinal balance, but we're going to do it over time. So, first thing I want you to do is to see if you can lift your right heel off of the floor. If you can, make sure you're not in your default, but you're in your neutral. See if you can flex that foot. And you're just going to hold it. So if you need to hold underneath your leg to give yourself a little bit of support, that's fine. You can do that. Or you can just let the arms rest and use the hip flexor to lift that right leg and hold it there and keep it there. Good. And then you're going to bring it back down. Then we're going to go to the left side. So you're going to see if you can lift your left heel. And you're going to see if you can flex your foot. And then again, if it's helpful for you to kind of hold underneath that thigh, you can do that. Or you can use that muscle to keep it up. Beautiful. So we're going to go back to the right side. You're going to lift that right heel. You're going to flex that foot if you can. And then you're going to lift the left arm. So if it's the right leg that's lifted, it's going to be the left arm that's lifted. Make sure it's opposite. And if you want a little bit more, you can reach that right arm also out to the side. So if reaching your left arm up like this doesn't feel good, right, you can modify and do that. If maybe lifting that left arm is too much stretch for you today, right, you can also modify by holding the leg. Good. 3, 2, 1. Drop it all down. Let's go to the other side. So left heel is going to lift. Flex the foot. If you need to hold underneath that leg, you can. And then you're going to reach that right arm up. And then maybe you reach the left arm out to the side. Okay. So just being mindful again of the placement of the spine, of the torso. Are you folding? Comes my kitty cat. I couldn't get her out of the room. Sorry. Good. And then bring it all the way back down. So we're going to do that one more time each side. So right heel comes up. Maybe you lift it. Maybe you hold. Reach that left arm high. See if you can reach that right arm out. If this feels good and you want more, see if you can reach both arms up. Okay. And breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And then release everything down. And then we're going to do that one more time, but on the other side. So left heel lifts up, flex the foot. Good. Hold it if you need to. Otherwise, that right arm lifts up, left arm out to the side. And then if you want a little bit more, you got it. You're going to reach both arms up. So just lots of different options, lots of different places that you can be here. Don't feel like you have to do anything that doesn't feel good for you. Love it. Release everything all the way back down. And we're going to come into a little bit of a twist. So you're going to inhale, reach both arms up. You're going to exhale, twist it to the right hand coming behind you, left hand pressing on that knee. Exhale and twist. So I'm a big believer in taking deep breaths when you twist. Okay, so let the breath deepen, both the inhalation, both the exhalation. Good. As you exhale, bring it back to center. Lovely. As you inhale, reach the arms high. And then you're going to exhale and, of course, twist it the other direction. So this time, left hand behind the chair, right hand touching that knee. And then you deepen the breath. So when you exhale, you might twist a little bit deeper. You might look over the back shoulder if it feels good. Beautiful. Exhale, bring yourself all the way back to center. So we're going to come up to stand now. I always like to give the opportunity when we transition from sitting to standing to grab some water. So if you want to take a sip of water, do that now. I'll definitely make sure that you have some time. Water also, actually. Need my own advice. And then after you get that water, you are going to come, tiny stop. You are going to come stand in front of your chair with the seat of your chair facing you. Okay. See a couple of people grabbing some water right now. So I'll give you a moment. Make sure you get that in. Water is always important. Tell my kids, your body is made of like 75% water. Water makes everything better. All right. So as you're standing, you're going to look down just like you did when you were sitting and look for that imaginary line, one foot not further in front of the other foot. And then you're going to lift your toes and you're going to bring your weight back just a little bit so that the weight is more in your heels. And I want you to push your heels down like you're stomping down, right? You're stomping down, heels press, the legs engage, and then you all of a sudden you have this freedom in your back and in your torso to really lift up. And all that was is just changing your foundation. We'll come into a few sun salutations. So inhale, reach the arms high. As you exhale, fold from the hip crease, come to a forward fold with the hands on the seat of the chair. Very nice. Bend your right knee, lift your left arm for a twist. If you want to modify, you don't want to lift your left arm, you can always put it on your hip, right? That would be your modification for the twist. Good. Reach with those left fingertips a lot. And then bring yourself all the way back to center. You're going to switch sides. So left knee is going to bend, right arm is going to lift. You're going to twist. Again, to modify, put your hand on your hip. We'll make that twist not quite as intense. Beautiful. Bring yourself back to center. We're going to walk it back to downward facing dog. So down dog in a chair class, very different than down dog, as you know, in a floor class. So here, fingertips, palms of the hand, they stay on the seat of the chair, and your hips, your knees, your ankles should kind of be in one straight line. And you'll let your chest drop, let your head drop. Check out that imaginary line. Make sure one foot's not further in front of the other. And if you find that in downward facing dog that your back feels really rounded, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to bend your knees and then lift the tailbone up and back so that the back and the spine come into neutral. Right? And once you get to the point where that feels good, it might not be today, okay, then you work to straighten the legs, but you want to keep the back neutral. That's more important than having straight legs in down dog. Awesome. Bring your right leg forward. Warrior one. So the right knee's bent, left heel is down. And then again, lots of options for warrior one with the hands. So you can keep your hands on the seat. A little more challenge, you can bring them to the back of the chair. A little more challenge, you lift your torso up. Maybe your hands come to your hips. Maybe they reach out to the side, or maybe you come full expression with the arms up in the air. Okay, so those are your different options for your warrior one. If you want to look down, make sure you can see your right big toe. That means your knee is in alignment. And again, those of you who've taken my class a lot, you know where I'm going. Push back a lot with the left leg, like tremendously. Press the left leg back, push that left heel down. Make that left leg work for you, the back leg. Beautiful. Go ahead and take your hands down to the seat of the chair. We're just going to transition and come back to downward facing dog for a moment. And then we're going to go to the other side. So warrior one on the left side. Bring that left leg forward. Make sure the right heel is down. Left knee is bent. And then just determine where you want your hands, right? Seat of the chair, back of the chair, hips out to the side, up in the air. And this one has like tons of options. You want to make sure you can see your left big toe, very important. And then press back a lot through the right leg. The right thigh is pushing down, the right heel is pushing down, all that back leg, very engaged. And you breathe. Beautiful. Take the hands to the seat of the chair, come into a forward fold. So your right leg's coming forward, left leg comes back a bit, back in that forward fold. So if you want to use forward fold as a resting space, then stay right here. Otherwise, you can come into chair pose. So the weight is in the heels. I lift my toes and I bring my weight back. Then I let my knees bend and my hips drop. Maybe you lift the arms shoulder height in front of you. Option only. And then whether you're in chair pose or forward fold, inhale, rise and shine. Come all the way to stand, arms above the head, and exhale, take it back to the heart. Good. So we're going to do that again a little bit faster, and we're going to add on to it a little bit. So inhale, reach. As you exhale, fold from the hip crease, forward fold. Good. Bend your right knee, twist to the left. Come back to forward fold. Bend your left knee, twist to the right. And come back to forward fold. Yep, walking on back, downward facing dog. Check out your foot alignment. Make sure right foot, left foot aligned properly. Notice if your back is rounded. If it is, bend your knees. Good. You bring that right leg forward. Warrior one, right knee's bent. Left heel is down. Determine where you want your hands. Might be different this time around. That's fine. Make sure you can see that right big toe. Push back through the left leg. Breathe here. Beautiful. Go ahead and take your hands back to the seat of the chair. Bring it back, downward facing dog, transitioning. All right, assess that down dog. How does that feel? Is your back rounded? And then switch sides. Warrior one, left side. Left knee's bent. Make sure you can see that left big toe. Press back a lot through the right leg. Doesn't matter where your arms are. Put them where it's good for you right now. Awesome. Go ahead and take your hands down to the seat of the chair. Come into that forward fold. So right leg forward a bit, left leg back a bit. You're going to bring your right leg behind you. Okay. Left leg stays right where it is. And then I want you a few times, you're just going to bend your right knee and squeeze your heel towards your glute. right? The likelihood of the two touching is very low, but you're activating that hamstring muscle in the back of the thigh. And then you're just going to tap the toes down, and then you're going to squeeze that heel again back up towards the glute. And you're just going to let that foot touch down. And you just do that back and forth. You don't have to follow my pace. You can do your own pace. Right? Your foot doesn't have to get very high off of the ground as long as you feel some of that activation of the muscles in the back of the leg. That's what I'm going for. Good. Let's do this last one. And then you're going to bring that right foot back underneath you. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So let the left leg come back, toes tap, and then you squeeze the heel towards the glutes, bending the knee, and you let that foot tap back down, and you squeeze it back up. Again, just doing this your breath, your pace. You kind of also determine, right, how much you're squeezing the heel towards the glute, how intense this muscle activation feels. So you're in control of that too. Okay, I'm gonna do two more at this pace that I'm doing. Last one here. And then you let that left foot come underneath back into your forward fold. You can take that forward fold as your rest or come into chair pose, right? So the weight is in the heels, let the knees bend, drop the hips. Maybe the arms reach out in front of you. If this feels too intense, then you're hanging out in your forward fold. Maybe if you're in forward fold, you're letting your hips sway a little side to side if that feels nice. Good. Everybody, inhale, rise and shine. Reach those arms all the way back up. Exhale and take it to the heart. Good. We're doing it again, but we're adding on again. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your right knee, twist to the left. Lovely. Come back to forward fold. Switch sides. Bend your left knee, twist to the right. Good. Bring it back. Forward fold. Walk yourself back out of mukha, downward facing dog. Assess your back situation. Is it rounded? If it is, bend your knees. Really reach forward with the fingertips. Good. Bring that right leg forward. Warrior one. Right knee's bent. Left heel's down. Right. So we've got our blood pumping. If you need to take a different hand position than you have been, right, that's okay. If you need to put your hands on the chair, that's why you have it. Do whatever feels good for you now. You're pressing back through that left leg. Make sure you can see the right big toe. And without actually moving, I want you to feel once again like you're pressing your feet down into the floor. So you're pressing the feet down and then see if you can lift your waist a little higher up. Awesome. Go ahead and take your hands to the seat of the chair. Straighten your right leg. Okay. This pyramid pose. Some people call it intense leg stretch. So if that's not enough stretch for you, you're looking for like a stretch in the back of your right leg. You might bring your left foot up a little bit, and then you might place your forearms on the seat of the chair. Okay. If you're sitting here with your hands on the chair and you feel the stretch, you don't need to go down on your forearms. Okay. It's just if you don't feel it, or if you want a little more of an intensity. Good. You're on your forearms. Come back up onto your hands. Let that right knee bend so that you can transition yourself back to your downward facing dog, your Adho Mukha. Check your feet alignment. I just caught myself, my left foot further back than my right. And then, of course, same thing on the other side. So left leg's coming forward, warrior one, bend your left knee. Place your right heel down on the floor, on the ground. And then determine where do you want your arms. Okay, and just giving yourself grace. You feel like your hands need to be in a different position than they were the last time around. Nothing wrong with that. Your body's working harder now this round. Press back through that right leg. And then as you stomp the feet down in your mind, it's more of energetic than it is anything, but you're pressing down. See if as you do that, can you kind of wiggle your waist a little bit higher? Think of your waist pulling away from your pelvis, the top of the pelvis. And you can think of the lower ribs pulling away from the top of the pelvis. Great. Go ahead and take your hands back to the seat of the chair. You're straightening your left leg now, the front leg. Pyramid pose. So we're looking for some stretch somewhere in the back of this left leg. If you don't feel that stretch or if you want it more intense, you're going to hop your right foot forward just a little bit. It doesn't come far, very far forward. And then you might start to bend your elbows and place your forearms down. Good. So if you are on your forearms, come back up onto your hands. Okay. You're coming into that forward fold. So right foot comes forward a bit, left foot comes back a bit, making your way back into that forward fold. And then your right foot comes behind you. Toes are tapping. You're going to bend the knee, squeeze that heel towards the glute, activate your hamstring. Let that right leg straighten, tap it down, bring it back up. Okay. Again, this motion doesn't have to be huge, right? You might be lifting the foot just a couple of inches off of the floor and you're still getting that activation in the back of the thigh. Okay. You just go to where your body says it's okay to go to today. Good. The next time you bend that knee, you're going to keep it there. You're going to flex your foot and see if you can feel like you're just like hammering a nail into the ceiling. A couple of times here, hammering that nail into the ceiling with the heel. You should feel a lot of activation in the glute here. Going to help keep you strong when you walk. And then release that right leg all the way back down. We're going to switch sides. Left foot comes behind you. Tap the toes. Bend the knee. Squeeze the heel towards the glute. Right? So remember, as you're doing this, you might find that your foot comes a couple of inches off of the mat, like so. Good. You're building that strength in the hamstring. You're building that strength in the back of the leg.